Welcome to Vital Life Stories, where we explore a dark tale of betrayal and beauty, transformed into a highly lethal weapon. She possessed everything a woman could ever desire, until a sudden and cruel betrayal completely shattered her peaceful, perfect, happy world. Her lover revealed his true demonic nature, orchestrating a horrific attack designed to permanently destroy her radiant and innocent, beautiful appearance. The agonizing pain consumed her entirely, as the corrosive substance melted away her identity, leaving behind only unrecognizable, horribly ruined flesh. Waking up in the sterile hospital room, she found her head wrapped entirely in thick bandages, hiding her utterly devastating tragedy. The doctor gently delivered the heartbreaking news that her original face was gone forever, plunging her into deep, dark, suicidal despair. Friends and colleagues slowly distanced themselves, unable to look past the terrifying scars that now defined her extremely lonely daily existence. She spent countless nights crying in the dark, mourning the beautiful woman she once was before that fateful, highly tragic night. However, from the deepest depths of her broken soul, a fierce and unstoppable desire for brutal retribution finally started quickly awakening. She realized that crying would never heal her wounds, so she made a silent, solemn vow to completely destroy his life. To achieve this impossible goal, she secretly contacted an underground plastic surgeon, famous for creating absolute miracles from horrific human tragedies. The surgeon warned her about the excruciating pain and long years required to completely rebuild her severely ruined original facial structure. She accepted the agonizing terms without any hesitation, knowing that physical suffering was absolutely nothing compared to her burning inner rage. The first major surgery involved reconstructing her shattered jawline, a brutal medical procedure that truly tested her absolute human pain endurance. Weeks turned into months as she endured endless operations, each one slowly erasing the terrible physical damage inflicted upon her face. During her long recovery periods, she meticulously studied her enemy, gathering vital information about his daily habits and deeply hidden weaknesses. He had moved on with his wealthy lifestyle, completely forgetting the innocent woman whose entire fragile existence he ruthlessly destroyed forever. She watched him flaunt his success and charm countless other women, intensely fueling the dark fire of vengeance inside her heart. The second year of surgeries focused on her eyes and nose, delicately carving out features that were strikingly sharp and beautiful. She learned to embrace the cold steel of the scalpel, viewing it as a sacred tool forging her ultimate, deadly weapon. Every single stitch and incision represented a solemn promise to herself that absolute justice would eventually be served, cold and unforgiving. Meanwhile, she completely reinvented her personality, shedding her former naive self to become a highly sophisticated and deeply mysterious, elegant lady. She trained her voice to sound completely different, adopting a seductive tone designed to easily captivate any wealthy and powerful man. The final surgery was a delicate skin grafting procedure designed to give her an absolutely flawless and unnaturally perfect porcelain complexion. When the last medical bandages were finally removed, she stared into the mirror and saw a breathtaking, gorgeous stranger staring back. This new face was an absolute masterpiece of modern medicine, radiating a highly dangerous allure that no mortal man could resist. She smiled, but the smile never reached her cold eyes, clearly signaling the dark birth of a ruthless predator hunting tonight. Armed with her stunning artificial beauty, she confidently stepped back into the luxurious, high society world where her wealthy enemy resided. Her grand entrance at an exclusive charity gala immediately stopped all conversations, drawing every single admiring gaze in the entire room. As perfectly predicted, her former lover noticed her instantly, completely mesmerized by this gorgeous and mysterious woman who just appeared tonight. He approached her with his signature arrogant charm, entirely unaware that he was walking straight into a carefully crafted death trap. She played the game flawlessly, offering him a polite but distant smile that only fueled his intense burning desire to conquer. Over the next few weeks, she orchestrated seemingly accidental encounters, slowly wrapping him tightly in her irresistible web of dark seduction. He became completely obsessed with her flawless artificial beauty, showering her with expensive gifts and endless declarations of his undying love. She accepted his lavish attention with highly calculated grace, always keeping him extremely desperate, while secretly analyzing his vulnerable business empire. To gain his absolute trust, she pretended to share his shallow interests, perfectly mirroring his desires until he believed they matched. Blinded by lust and toxic infatuation, he began sharing highly confidential financial secrets that could easily ruin his entire corporate legacy. Every piece of information he foolishly revealed was secretly recorded and securely stored in her growing arsenal of highly destructive evidence. She manipulated him into alienating his closest allies, subtly planting seeds of deep paranoia that slowly isolated him from true friends. His once stable life started fracturing, but he remained completely oblivious, focusing only on maintaining her affection at any terrible cost. She convinced him to invest massive amounts of capital into a fake offshore company that she secretly controlled from the shadows. The trap was now perfectly set, and all she needed was for him to sign the final, highly disastrous transfer documents. During a romantic weekend getaway, she poured him a glass of expensive wine, masking her intense, dark hatred with a smile. Intoxicated by her beauty and the alcohol, he blindly signed away his entire fortune, permanently sealing his own highly devastating doom. With his wealth now fully drained, she swiftly moved to the next phase of her plan, targeting his pristine public reputation. She anonymously leaked the confidential files to major news outlets, exposing his massive corporate fraud and numerous illegal global business operations. The scandalous news broke early the next morning, sending massive shockwaves through the financial sector and completely destroying his company stock. Panic consumed him as authorities raided his luxurious corporate headquarters, seizing hard drives and arresting his remaining loyal executive board members. Desperate and terrified, he frantically called her for emotional support, completely unaware that she was the silent architect of his downfall. She coldly ignored his endless calls, sitting quietly in her dark apartment while watching his pathetic public demise on the television. His world was rapidly collapsing around him, and the beautiful woman he thought he loved had suddenly vanished without a trace. Days later, facing severe criminal charges and absolute bankruptcy, he received a mysterious invitation to meet at an abandoned industrial warehouse. Hoping for a miracle or a secret escape plan, he arrived at the dark location, trembling with deep fear and anxiety. The heavy metal doors echoed loudly as he stepped inside, finding her standing elegantly under a single flickering overhead street lamp. Relief washed over him momentarily when he saw her flawless face, but her piercing, cold stare quickly froze his racing heart. He begged her for help, pleading with tears in his eyes, completely broken by the sudden loss of his powerful empire. She slowly walked towards him, her designer heels clicking sharply against the concrete, sounding like a steady and highly fatal countdown. With a chilling calmness, she handed him a small folder containing old photographs from before her horrific and life-altering tragedy. He opened the folder with shaking hands, his eyes widening in sheer absolute terror as he finally recognized the innocent face. The devastating realization hit him like a physical blow, connecting this artificial goddess to the poor girl he had violently destroyed. She leaned in close, whispering her original name into his ear, a vengeful ghost from the past returning to claim him. He stumbled backward, gasping for air as the sheer magnitude of her brilliant and terrifying deception fully crushed his fragile mind. "You destroyed my natural beauty," she said softly. "So I used this artificial mask to completely dismantle your entire pathetic existence." He fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably, realizing that his own shallow lust had been the exact weapon of his execution. There was no physical violence tonight, only the poetic justice of a truly wicked man losing absolutely everything he ever valued. She looked down at his trembling, pathetic form, feeling no pity, only the cold and satisfying emptiness of a completed mission. The sirens wailed loudly in the distance, signaling the imminent arrival of the police, who would soon arrest him for fraud. She turned around gracefully, walking away from the broken man, leaving him alone to face his dark and miserable prison sentence. As she stepped out into the cool night air, a heavy emotional burden finally lifted from her deeply scarred, weary soul. The artificial face had served its dark purpose, transforming her unbearable trauma into a meticulously executed symphony of absolute poetic justice. She disappeared into the bustling city shadows, a beautiful phantom who had successfully conquered the demons of her extremely tragic past. The media heavily covered his dramatic trial, portraying him as a greedy monster who rightfully deserved every single terrible punishment received. He was sentenced to decades in a maximum security prison, stripped entirely of his precious wealth, status, and arrogant male pride. Inside his tiny, dark cell, he was constantly haunted by the terrifying memory of her cold, artificial, and perfectly beautiful smile. Meanwhile, she relocated to a quiet coastal town, starting a completely new life, far away from the toxic world of revenge. She opened a small charity foundation, secretly using the stolen offshore funds to help other female victims of severe domestic violence. Healing was a slow and painful process, but the satisfying taste of ultimate victory gave her the necessary strength to continue. Sometimes, she would gently touch her flawless synthetic cheek, remembering the immense agony and sacrifice required to build this protective armor. Her story serves as a chilling reminder that true karma often wears the most unexpected and dangerously beautiful disguises ever created. Beauty is rarely just an aesthetic blessing. In the hands of a broken survivor, it becomes a highly lethal tactical weapon. The man who cruelly worshipped only surface perfection was ultimately annihilated by the exact same superficial illusion he blindly chased forever. She proved that a woman's spirit, even when violently burned to ashes, can always rise again with terrifying and magnificent power. Every scar hidden beneath her perfect skin told a silent story of incredible endurance, fierce resilience, and unyielding, dark inner strength. As the peaceful ocean waves crashed against the shore, she finally let go of the lingering hatred poisoning her exhausted heart. She was no longer the tragic victim, nor the cold avenger, but simply a brave survivor reclaiming her own peaceful destiny. The world would never truly know the dark secrets buried beneath the spectacular ruin of that once powerful and arrogant billionaire. They only saw a classic tale of corporate greed punished, completely blind to the brilliant feminine vengeance that secretly orchestrated it. This is the ultimate paradox of human nature, where the deepest physical destruction can birth the most terrifyingly flawless human masterpiece. Thank you for joining us on this intense psychological journey through the darkest corners of human betrayal, survival, and ultimate retribution. If you enjoyed this dark tale, please subscribe to Vital Life Stories for more thrilling narratives exploring the complexities of life. Thank you for watching Vital Life Stories. If this story inspired you, please share it and subscribe for more life.